Football fans, it's time to get settled back on into another weekend here of the Premier League. We're up on to match week number 5 going on. My good friend Matt here has joined me. We're going to break down every single game, give you leans and picks for every game. How's it going there, Matt?
Great. I can't wait for another week of the Premier League. It just keeps getting better and better.
I know, and off the heels of Champions League, which is obviously, we're coming into this weekend with full of excitement, getting that Champions League action there on a midweek.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's always great. And then, to see some of these teams in the Europa League as well have to play, 3 days after. That's news, very new news to West Ham. They haven't been in Europe in quite a long time. And Leicester up two against Napoli, and then they end up getting a draw there. So now they've got a tough road match against Brighton, and West Ham hosts United. So some angles to really pick on here.
Yep, good insight right there. Let's remind everybody we're powered by BetUS, a great sports books. Encourage you guys to go ahead and check them out. They got fantastic sign-on bonus. You can also use the cryptocurrency, and they just got great lines and great odds. If you want to go ahead and check them out in this video description, you can find a sign-up link. You go ahead and check that out and sign up. Matt and I would be grateful and appreciative of that. Don't forget, guys, we got the comment section open. You guys want to go ahead and put on your leans and bets throughout the show. Matt and I will be reading them and checking them out. We always get an enjoyment, and we always like to see that right there. And go ahead and hit that like button. If you're sitting there tailing our bets or enjoying the content, go ahead and hit that like button. Let's go ahead and do our 90-second recap where we recap the previous match week. We'll let Matt recap match week number 4.
I probably don't even need 90 seconds. It was a funky week. The Brazilian FA really threw a wrench in last week, so it just kind of kept me off of pretty much the whole card. I ended up with a push on West Ham. I think it was a fortunate push because Southampton were really pushing towards the end, and there was a Declan Rice had a great goal line clearance. It was a couple millimeters from being a goal. So yeah, I was happy to just really stay away and move on. I had a good NFL week, so that was kind of where I was at last week. And so it was 0-0-1 for 0.00 units.
Hey, football, you made some profit. Nobody can complain right there.
Absolutely.
How did I do last week? Well, I continued making money. Made money in the first 3 weeks and did it again in week 4. Went 5-3 and plus 3.42 units. Gave you guys Manchester United and Chelsea both to score in both of those halves. Obviously, that happened. Gave you guys that Chelsea team total. Lukaku with a fantastic finish. I mean, at the top of the box there in injury time. Not a whole lot of guys are finishing that right now. He's just in fantastic form. Also hit a parlay of United, Chelsea, and City on the parlay. The big one, though, was a Bunga. I got his shots on target. That was at plus 195, so that was able to basically erase 2 of the losses. That's how go 5-3, but have a good amount of profit right there. It was due to a Bunga. So yeah, a good week. Been profitable in all 4 weeks, and look to just carry that on into match week number 5 here. And with that said, it all kicks off here Friday afternoon. You can start it off the discussion here. You got Newcastle and Leeds. What's going to happen on Friday afternoon in this one?
Should be goals. I mean, both teams are shipping goals for fun. Newcastle, I thought they looked great against Manchester United, and still the scoreline really didn't reflect that whatsoever. And then Leeds, just on the road, they really struggle. They ship goals. They are too offensive at times and leave themselves open and vulnerable at the back line. And so and then when you also that's, stylistically, I think it matches up for an over. The players, the quality in the final thirds match up for an over for me. I would love to have Calvert-Lewin in there, or not Calvert-Lewin, but
Callum Wilson.
Callum Wilson.
Yeah.
I would love him in there, but it looks like he's not going to make it, but it still should be fine. I mean, there were 10 goals last season in the 2 matches between these two. So put that all together. I like an over. I went over 2.75 at minus 125. I think that both teams to score over 2.5 looks great as well. So, yeah, I just think that I don't really want to get involved with either of them. I wish that Leeds would have just been playing a little bit better, and I would be involved on them. But yeah, no, for me, it's more so just looking at the overs, not complicating it. I don't want to be on either side. Over 2.75 for me.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, with Leeds coming off that 3-0 loss, to Liverpool, it's don't complicate it. You're right. It's goals and goals and goals, and you touched on it there a little bit with Leeds, and they're just not a good shape defensively. Just with how they play, they expose themselves on that back end, and Newcastle can take advantage of them. Even though they don't have Callum Wilson, they can do it. I mean, the bet you gave out would have cashed in both fixtures last last season. The bet I'll give out cash in both fixtures last season. You had a 2-1 and a 5-2 game, as you said, for a total of 10 goals. The thing is, even Leeds won both of those fixtures. So maybe somebody could think, not a whole lot has changed since last season. And I would kind of disagree. I mean, but I just don't see it right now in that current form with Leeds. But I'm with you. There's going to be goals and goals and goals. Newcastle's been able to score in 3 of their 4 games. We know Leeds gives them up, so I'm with you. Goals. I went with the different angle, but you've already said it. Both teams are scoring over 2.5, and I snagged that at minus 119. So we'll just sit back this afternoon, and we'll just watch the goals fly in. That's all we got to do. Watch them fly in. All right, let's go ahead now and go to Wolves versus Brentford. I'll kick this one off right here. Finally, Wolves got on the score sheet. And amazing what happens when you can score, folks. You can actually win a game. That's what Wolves finally was able to do over the last weekend. But temper the expectations a little bit. It was up against Watford, but then they do get another newbie right here. And then Brentford, we've seen how Brentford kind of plays on the road. They'll play compact. They're not going to get as forward. They're content with generally scraping out, a 1-point result right there. They lost heartbreaker to Brighton, losing in injury time, but that was a boring game. Neither of those teams created any chances, whether it was Brentford or Brighton. Very, very boring game. The thing that I like in this fixture here, under 2.5 is cashed in all 4 Wolves game, and it's cashed in all 4 Brentford games. It's juicy, so I would recommend this one being in a parlay piece, under 2.5 for me in a parlay.
Yes, I really have no angle on this one. I think that Wolves probably should have enough here to get the job done and pick up all 3. But yeah, like you mentioned, I mean, it's going to be really tight. The margins are going to be really slim. It's just not something that I really want to get involved in. I could see this going either way. So yeah, it's a pass for me.
Stay away from you. Okay, cool. How do you see Burnley and Arsenal, the next fixture, breaking down?
I think that Arsenal will scrape it here, and I also think it's a tight, cagey unders game. Turf Moor isn't that difficult to go to. I think a lot of people kind of misconstrue that. I mean, a lot of the big teams have had great success there. Arsenal, I don't think has been beat in Turf Moor in quite some time. And when you look at Arsenal, at least last week, they're getting Gabriel back to partner with Ben White, so there's a lot more solidity there in Arsenal's back line, and that's exactly the recipe that Arteta needs, so that they can start to be a little bit more aggressive and go forward because they have some cover. And so I think that Arsenal is going to win this like 1 or 2-0. And I think that the under is a better look. I would rather be on unders under 2.5. But yeah, I've passed it for now. I want to just take a look at some lineups. But yeah, I'm leaning pretty heavily to the under.
You're leaning heavily to the under. I'm on that under. I cashed a lot of under 2.5s, obviously, in Burnley fixtures last season, so that is certainly the angle I'm on. We mentioned Arsenal needing that big win last week up against Norwich. They got it. I don't think it really cools the Arteta seat because it was Norwich, and they only won 1-0. It wasn't like a dazzling performance up against Norwich, so I think there's still certainly some pressure for Arteta as he comes into this fixture. Burnley obviously lost 3-1 to Everton. I said on my daily show, the only way Burnley will score is on a set piece. Basically was a set piece. I mean, it was a set piece that wasn't cleared and immediately swung back in. Burnley just doesn't have it in the open play. They're not going to get goals. You only have to worry about them predominantly on a set piece, and I think Arsenal has the pieces there on the back end to contend with that. Under 2.5 cash in both of these fixtures last season. And if you remember, at Turf Moor, Burnley got a goal on a sloppy back pass by, I think it was Xhaka, I believe it was, and
Yep.
I think Chris Wood was the one that pounced on it and got a goal. So yeah, under 2.5 in this Arsenal Burnley fixture, I think is the way to go. I mean, maybe Arsenal does scrape it, but I'm with you. Let's not try and pick a winner in a tightly Burnley match that what Sean Dice is going to do. You know how he's going to set them up. So to me, it feels like Burnley's already in a relegation fight, and I already think that leans more to the under. I know in the standings wise they're not in the relegation, but more from a performance standpoint, it feels like they're already going to be scrapping and clawing. So I like under 2.5, and I was able to snag that at 124. That's how I'm going right there. All right, it's Liverpool Crystal Palace. Why don't you go ahead and kick off this discussion between these two clubs?
Yes, so Liverpool with a great come-from-behind win against AC Milan. They just lost their focus late in the first half and conceded 2 quick ones. But for me here, I mean, Virgil van Dijk sat out, so he's fully rested. Some players like Mane, he got maybe 20 minutes. I don't see Palace really giving Liverpool a lot of trouble here. I think that Liverpool could easily win this to nil. If you're looking at a singles play and you want to get Liverpool somewhat on sides, I think that's the only way to look. I wouldn't be looking towards the Asian handicap line and trying to win by a big margin. I'm not sure that all of that happens, but I don't think that they concede here to Palace at home. But for me here, it's pretty simple. Sadio Mane, he's going for a record in the Premier League. No one has ever scored against another opponent in 9 consecutive matches. Right now, Mane is sitting on 8. He has scored 8 times against Palace in a row. He goes for 9 here. It's a good price, plus 100. And he's going to get chances. I mean, when you look at Salah at minus 200, minus 210, 220, and then you look at Mane at plus 100, I mean, they get about the same amount of chances. Yes, Salah's a little bit more clinical, but I trust Mane to feel pretty good against Palace. And yeah, I think that at plus 100 and going for a record in the Premier League, I think it's a must bet.
Yeah, wow, that is a great angle. You got me wanting to grab my ATM card and go get some cash and throw it on Monty anytime goal scorer, even money. I like that. Maybe even let him take a penalty kick to get that record. I like that right there. I'm going to go ahead and start with Palace in this discussion right here. I watched the Palace versus Tottenham game last week because I got burned on a bet in that game. That was one of my 3 losses. Palace dominated Tottenham and absolutely dominated. I'm not talking about what happened after the red card. I'm talking about everything before it. They were all over them. Harry Kane only touched the ball when he was coming back in that CDM position to pick it up. Otherwise, he couldn't sniff the ball. Don't even know if he took a touch in that box the entire game. I mean, give credit to Palace. They were outstanding up against Spurs. But now you're traveling to Anfield, and you're not going to be able to reproduce a performance like that at Anfield. So I agree with everything you said. I was looking at the Asian handicap. You get -2 at plus 102. But I could see it, being a 3-1. If Palace was the Nick one, now you're talking about you just watched a 90-minute fixture, just to get your money back. I think Liverpool will score in both halves. I know it's a play that you've used this season. I think that one is in play again this season. I think they'll be over or be on Palace for the majority of the fixture, have their way more times than not. And I think they'll find the back of the net in both of the halves. So my lean in this game would definitely be Liverpool to score in both halves at -125 is what you can get that at right now. If we move the discussion along, we talk about Manchester City versus Southampton. I'll kick it off here, and I'm not sure what there's all really to say. I mean, I know Southampton was able to get a shock result a couple seasons ago, 1-0, but fact is the 2 results since then have had a combined score of 6-2 and a Manchester City win. The only thing that gives me a little bit of pause in this game is when I think about it is, can City win to 0? And there's still going to be no Stones and no Laporte. Possibly both of those guys are questionable coming into it. But then on the flip side of that is you don't have Southampton doesn't have their number 9 in Armstrong. It looks like Shane Long is going to miss out through an illness, and also Theo Walcott would also miss out, as both of those guys are questionable. So I would just get nervous, more so with City's back end. I know they can slide in Fernandinho. They were kind of a mess in Champions League. They gave up 3 goals to Leipzig. Leipzig's better, obviously, than Southampton, but I would kind of get a little bit nervous. So I've kind of left this game. My only lean would be City to win to 0, but I don't feel all that confident in there, so I've kind of left this one.
Yeah, just not one of those matches I want to get involved in. I don't see any value. I think that City should probably get the job done here by a hefty margin. I really don't even have a lean for this one. I'd be looking at some other types of markets, really digging in here. Yeah, I was on Southampton that day that they beat City on an Asian handicap line. I remember, because that was just that was a completely different situation. I mean, that was back when City were kind of looking a little bit sloppy, and then Southampton were in fine form. It's so different now, and yeah, City at home here. I really don't have anything for this one. I think that they win this comfortably, 3-0, 3-1, 4-0, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I do lean that. I mean, Southampton has so many injuries. I'm with you. City's just going to dominate possession. I mean, just absolutely dominate. Maybe you could even look at a corners in this game, because City will rack up the corners through to them having the majority of the possession. Maybe Southampton is around that, maybe 30% or so. But yeah, I'm with you. It'll be a City win, comfortable. I just get nervous sweating out those win to nils. I need a new shirt after every single one. Makes me nervous. I don't know how much of that I can take. All right, let's go ahead and move it along now to Norwich versus Watford. I'll go ahead and kick this one off here. You got Norwich, obviously, at Carroll Road. They've got to get points. I mean, got to get points. They've got to. They've scored one goal all season. We know they've played an incredibly tough competition, but they've only gotten one goal all season. This is against another fellow newbie in Watford. They've got to go for it here. Watford has won 3 straight games without, or Watford has gone 3 straight games without scoring, sorry. So they're not in any good form right now. The angle I like in this game, I've kind of looked at corners. I've looked at these two teams head to head recently. Watford has won the corners in both fixtures last season 11-4 and 13-5. So they've been able to get the better of Norwich here in terms of their attacking going forward. Watford won both of those games. Watford won 1-0 last campaign, and they've won, and then they won the other one by a combined score of 6-1. So I'm looking at corners here. I think this is going to be a fascinating game. Obviously, 2 newbies here. They're both going to be wanting to go for it. Norwich especially, and especially at Carroll Road. But I'm looking at the corners here. So I've got Watford to have the most corners at plus 195, just based on the stats and how these games have unfolded. And at plus 195, I couldn't stay away from that value right there. So that would be for me.
Jason, that is digging. That's a really good one, I think. I think that is, I mean, you look at Watford winning both times in the championship last season. You talked about the corners angles, and because I'm right here, I'm sitting on the fence. I'm like, I think that the draw would be what I would look at because it's the biggest price. I don't think that Norwich should be this kind of price. I think this should be more towards like the pick'em. Both teams in bad form, but yeah, I think that looking towards corners or some type of alternative market is the way to go here because I just don't have a good feel for it. You're making me really want to maybe get on that one at plus 195. I think that you've talked me into that one, my friend.
Nice. Let me see if I can talk you into another angle here in Villa versus Everton. I'm going to go cards in this one. I'm going over 4.5 cards, and this is what my angle here. Villa is first on the season in cards. Everton is third. And Villa, this is not a fluke for them. They finished last season 4th in cards. What I like about here is also you got Craig Boston. He's going to go ahead and be the referee leading the match here. He's tied for second, giving out the most yellow cards this season, and he's officiated 2 less games than the guy who's in first there. So I like that right there. Craig Boston in 2020 was gave out the 5th most yellow cards in all the Premier League, and he officiated less games than the guys in first. So you get 2 teams that love getting cards. You get a referee that loves giving out those cards at over 4.5 at plus 155. That's going to be one of my bets from this game. So I love that right there. Let's just get some cards in this game. I don't even care. Just click, knock each other down, kick ankles, push elbows.
I love it.
Beat them up.
I love it. It's another good one, Jason. I think you're doing some really good digging here. I don't have a ton on this match. I think that Everton are a decent underdog here. And I think that, them being an active underdog will end up pushing this one probably over the total. I think that both teams will find the back of the net. Everton are in decent goal-scoring form here. I'd be looking at a BTTS and over 2.5 or just the straight over 2.5 or over 2.75, something like that. I see goals here. I think that Everton will push the pace and will have an opportunity to win this match. So, yeah, this feels like a 2-2 to me.
You think Everton will have more possession than what they've shown in their fixtures? Because they've been sitting around 30-40% in a lot of their matches.
No, I think that this is something that I think that I'm going to trademark here. So they're going to feel at home when they're on the road because they are just going to sit back and hit you on the break, and they don't want to play on the front foot. They want you to have some possession, make a mistake, long ball over the top, Richarlison, Damari Gray. So I know that there is no Calvert-Lewin this one, but it should be fine. I think Richarlison should be able to pick up the slack here. Townsend with a banger last week. I mean, that was incredible stuff. So, yeah, I lean towards Everton just because I think they've been more consistent thus far. But yeah, I think that the goals angle too is also a decent shot.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I gave out another bet on my daily show today. Everton draw no bet at plus 116. I don't see them losing. Rafa Benitez has shored them up defensively. You've kind of touched on what they've got from an attacking standpoint. So, yeah, there may be goals, but I don't see Everton losing. So I figured on that draw no bet at plus money. That was another bet that I liked from this game a lot as well. Let's go ahead and look at now. We've got Brighton versus Leicester. I think Brighton is ahead of Leicester in the table. Well, not think. They are ahead of Leicester in the table, and they're catching Leicester at a good spot. You got Leicester playing, obviously, midweek there on a Thursday. Brighton at home. I think this is a spot where they feel like call it in that first 20 minutes, they could jump out on them. And if you wanted to get really risky and take them on the money line in the first 30 minutes, maybe go for it. I'm not that risky, but I think this is a good spot for them with Leicester having played on Thursday for them to just come out and really attack them at home, be attacking in their football. But I think Leicester over the course of 90 minutes, though, they'll be able to get one. They've got Iheanacho, they've got Vardy, they've got Tielemans, Madison. We know all their guys. They will get one themselves. So let's just find both teams to find the back of the net. And at minus 110, I love that right there. So that'll be the bet for me in this game is both teams to score.
I like it. I do like it. The last 9 road matches for Leicester in the Premier League, both teams have scored. They were scoring some goals in the midweek, shipping some goals with a lead. You never like to see that when a team's up 2-0. They've got a great goalie like Kasper Schmeichel, and they cannot hold on against a team like Napoli, who is very quality in their own right. So I think this is a great opportunity for Brighton. I would be looking towards Brighton in the draw no bet market, and I think that both teams to score has some real value here. So, yeah, it's probably. I feel like this probably ends up as a 1-1 though. I mean, the way that the book has this priced out, it leads itself to believe that a draw is kind of on the cards here.
Cool. Hey, good stuff right there. Yeah, and I think, man, if you want to go risky, that Brighton to win the first half draw, kind of like what you're saying, because I see it around there.
I do like that.
That would be good.
Yeah, first half, come after them at the MX. Yeah, I think that, you can get them in a draw no bet first half. That's a good look too, Jason.
Yeah. All right, what do you see about West Ham, Manchester United? I'll save my thoughts a little bit later, being the United guy here.
Ronaldo, he's on fire. He scores. That's really all I see here. I know that there's no Antonio for West Ham after the red card. I think that, there we go. Professor. He likes Ronaldo to score. I mean, I've been on it both times. I was on. I took some Ronaldo to score first against Newcastle. I took some Ronaldo anytime, Ronaldo to score, United to win, and then I took some Ronaldo to score against Young Boys. So, I think that he just keeps it going here. I think that he keeps it flying, and at minus 105, plus 100, plus 105, it's all kind of different at some different shops, but plus 100 for me is what I locked in. And Ronaldo, I'm going to keep betting it until it loses.
I think at plus 100, you have to bet it. You have to bet it. Just know what he is on the pitch. Now he's taking the penalty kicks for that team at plus 100. I think Ronaldo anytime to score at plus 100. That's a must bet. I also like Manchester United. You didn't say you liked Manchester United in this game. You really just like Ronaldo, but I do like United. They've won the last 3 head-to-heads here up against West Ham. Got no Antonio for West Ham. I think that's going to hurt them. Sure, they have Bowen and Fornals, but Antonio was their number 9. He's leading the line, and he's going to be a big miss for them. And they played Thursday night in Croatia. That's a long flight. That's 2 less days of rest. You get Manchester United coming off a disappointing result. Performance-wise, we can, question maybe tactics or what have you once that red card came out, but the result was bad, and giving them extra rest, they're going to be ready to go for it. I don't care that this game is playing, in London. It doesn't matter to me. United's handled it in the last 3 times. So I just like Manchester United on that money line at minus 120. Think maybe both teams could score. I'm not really all that sure. I think that extra 2 days of rest is really going to have United come out bright, and they're going to be on the front foot from the beginning, and they're going to want to put the midweek performance past them. I like United on that money line at minus 120. All right, last fixture here is going to be Tottenham versus Chelsea. What do you see in this one, Matt?
I see a controlled performance from Chelsea. It's as consistent as they come. They are completely well drilled under Thomas Tuchel now, and I expect them to grind out another one here in a London derby. Tottenham have a lot of question marks in terms of who's going to play here. And so for me here at minus 115 on Chelsea, the European champions, playing just as good as anybody in the world right now. I think that they keep it controlled. I think they will find a way. And as long as you can just continue to feed the beast that is Lukaku in the middle, you are going to be fine, because he's going to put away 1 or 2 of the chances that he is given. So, and then I just think it's also controlled. So I think it's unders. And Nuno with maybe some of the some of the depleted front line that he's got there, maybe he's going to really try and sit back here and just try and stymie this one, even at home, which stinks because this is, he normally would want to go for it a little bit, but this is a different animal right now. So I've got 3 bets: Chelsea to win, Lukaku to score, under 2.5. I like them all. I know Lukaku's price has been beaten down a little bit. It was plus 125. Now it's at like plus 100. He, again, is in great goal-scoring form. So Mane, Ronaldo, Lukaku, all feeling themselves. I like them all, and I have trebled them.
Nice. I absolutely love that right there. Well, I didn't bet Lukaku, but I'm going to be cheering for Lukaku. I've mentioned it here on the show about my fantasy football team. It took me a couple of weeks because of Lukaku's price, but I was finally able yesterday to buy Lukaku, so he's in my squad. So, yeah, let's go. I won't be betting it, but I'll be pulling for hell like Lukaku. And obviously, he came through for us last week, cashing that team total of over 2.5. So, yeah, Lukaku is just absolutely in fantastic form. I thought you said it pretty well in terms of what Tottenham has at their disposal in terms of a lineup-wise. No Son, Lucas and Bergevin were hurt midweek in that Europa Conference League thingy, whatever they're calling that thing these days. So, I thought he messed up by not playing 2 wingers up against Palace. I thought that was the wrong setup against Palace. But now he doesn't even have the personnel to even put 2 wingers out there with no Son, no Bergevin, no Lucas. He's hurting. All they're going to have is Kane. Dele Alli is a shell of himself to what he used to be. Don't really worry about him at all. Even got Eric Dyer hurt up against Crystal Palace, so maybe he's not going to be able to be fit for this game. So I'm with you. That Chelsea money line looks good, but anybody who's been following me for a long time won't be surprised to know that I'm on that under 2.5. I think you are exactly right in terms of how Nuno is going to set up. He's not going to have the attacking pieces. He's going to have to play this game ultra defensive. You already combine that with how Chelsea is defensive. To me, it's under 2.5 all day, and I don't even see this coming. They won't even have a sweat. Chelsea may win the game 2-0, but then they will have no desire to go forward because they know that Tottenham won't be able to punish them. They'll just soak up pressure, so to speak, of what they'll have. And yeah, under 2.5, I think cashes very, very easily in this game. So yeah, all right, let's go ahead now, and those are all 10 games. All right, let's go ahead now and throw up our bets. You can run through yours first. Let's move our names down. Let's see, get that out of the way. I think these are our bets right here. So what do you got? What are your official bets this weekend, Matt?
All right, starting off today, Leeds and Newcastle over 2.75 goals. So if it lands on 3, we would win half of the stake, but I see more than 3 today, so let's hope for that. Minus 125 on that one. Chelsea, money line, minus 115. Probably the best bet of the week, I would say. I think that Chelsea get the job done against a depleted Spurs side, even on the road. Spurs, Chelsea, under 2.5. We just hit on that. Controlled performances under Thomas Tuchel, under 2.5s, continue to cash. Why not again? Mane anytime. Going for his 9th consecutive against Palace. Ronaldo anytime, looking for 3 straight for Manchester United. And Lukaku, he's been scoring goals for fun as well. So he scored in the midweek in the Champions League, scored last week. Yeah, so they're all rolling right now, and I have parlayed them at plus 680 on the anytime goal scorers. I think that there's a good chance. And if you take all 3 of them in singles bets, I think that you got a really good chance to at least go 2 for 3 and scrape out a unit.
Oh, you put a little sprinkle on a little 680 parlay. A little sprinkle, folks. I like that. We like a little sprinkle here on this show. Well, V2 Mouth just chimed in there on the chat. He makes me want to go throw another unit on the under 2.5. He said Conte's fit. He apparently listened to Tuchel's press conference, and Conte's fit. I mean, I need to go drop another unit up on under 2.5.
Good.
God, they're going to win 2-0. They're going to win 2-0. That's how that game's going to go. All right, what are my bets? I'm with you in this Newcastle Leeds game. I'm with you. There's going to be goals. I've added both teams a score in that just to get a touch more value, so I got that at minus 119. Again, my official in that Arsenal Burnley, I think under 2.5 is going to cash easily in that game as well. Norwich and Watford, I think Watford will get the most corners at plus 195. Everton on that draw no bet at plus 116. They're not losing to Villa. There may be goals in that game, but I don't think Villa's not going to beat them, so I think at a draw no bet, you're good right there. But also take over 4.5. It's good. Craig Pawson, he's going to be going to the pocket. Watch it, folks. He's going to be going to the pocket often and get that one at plus 155. So great value right there at plus 155. Brighton and Leicester, both of those teams will find the back of the net at minus 110. And then Tottenham, Chelsea, under 2.5 all day long. All day. I'm going to go throw another unit on that one. And then Man United money line, they're going to handle West Ham. And I got that one at minus 120. So that's how we're going to do it right there. Those are our official bets. for match week 5 in the Premier League. Already pumped for it. I'm ready to go this Friday night. Work's going to be over. I'm going to be able to sit back, probably already go ahead and crack open a beer, and I'm just going to watch the goals flying in.
I love it. Let's do it. I hope so. I think that there should be some goals.
All right, guys, let's remind everybody again, we're powered by BetUS. If you want to know anything about them, check them out in this video description. You can find some more information on BetUS. Professor, more speak to your mouth. Everybody, great comments in today's show. We wish you good luck on your bets. Unless you're fading us, then the hell with your bets. We do not wish you good luck. Tail these winners right here. Tail them, all those bets. Tail all those guys. All right, guys, it's Match Week 5. We'll come back next week. We'll recap our action, see how we performed, and we'll kick off Match Week 5. Have a good one, everybody. And Matt, enjoy the action.
You too, Jason.